The following program contains strong language, tales of the strange, the tragic, and the downright far out. Some stories may include sensitive topics, dark themes, true crime, and mental health. Listener discretion is advised, but curiosity is always welcome. Hello, my strange friends. Welcome back to Strange and Far Out, where the strange, the sacred, and the slightly unsettling meet under the soft lighting and late night thoughts. I'm Tessarella, and tonight we aren't warm with Christmas cheer anymore. We are gathering in a sort of backrooms-esque, weird hallway waiting room type area. Christmas has ended, but it hasn't fully left. And New Year's is coming, but it hasn't arrived. And time, it feels kind of like incorrect. Like the lights are still up, but they don't feel magical anymore. And to be honest, I think the magic just refused to arrive in 2025. The neighborhood feels quieter than it should. The calendar exists, but it doesn't mean anything right now. Some call it Twixmas, inspired by the Old English word betwixt, which means between. People describe this week as like a floating, disassociated, like life is paused, but your anxiety forgot to pause it. If you felt that, the heaviness, the numbness, the strange calm mixed with dread, you're not imagining it. This episode exists inside of that feeling. So tonight, we're going to talk about why this space exists, like at all. Through Yule, Christmas, New Year's rituals, and the psychology of what happens when stimulation drops and meaning hasn't been replaced yet. No rushing, no cheer, just sitting together. All right, friends, it is time for our mood ring moments where we check the vibe. And tonight, my mood ring, it's not quite red or green or gold. It's giving snow on the television screen. You know that static you see when there isn't like a clear signal? All of a sudden, life has this weird silence. Like, you know, the silence after a big crowd leaves. Abandoned mall vibes. That's what it's giving. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room, okay? I've taken another break from recording episodes because with the hustle and bustle of the holiday season and just life in general, it didn't seem quite right. I had quite an eventful week. Or a few weeks, rather. I was dealing with, the dental issues. And, oh my God, the horrors still persist with that. But I recovered from the one thing I told you about where they kind of like left the nerve exposed and shit. And then as soon as I was able to talk comfortably and open my mouth a little bit, I had a root canal, which honestly was surprisingly easier than the first procedure. Because I was absolutely in excruciating pain after that first procedure. But I think I mentioned that, like, the whole process of being numbed for me also, it triggers panic attacks for me. It's the change of sensation and loss of control that just sends me into like a complete spiral. And I get really dizzy and I feel like I'm going to faint. But I had really, really nice dentists this time. Like I had a specialist that did the root canal, and then I was already numb. And then I got like the temporary crown, which is a fucking nightmare. I had to get that replaced twice. But anyway, during the whole root canal procedure, the specialist was absolutely amazing. Oh my God, just the best. And this time I brought headphones and I blasted one of my favorite albums for situations like that, which is Black Sabbath's Paranoid album. And I was fine. And before the root canal, I sprained the fuck out of my left knee. And how did I manage to do that, you ask? It's a funny fucking story, actually. It sounds funnier than it was, but nonetheless, it was a funny story. And I had to like share it in the ER when they were like, well, how'd this happen? So I decided to leave the house. Ooh, like, oh my God, I left the fucking house to join my best friend Mia while she worked an event. And the event happened to have luchadors. It was called Lucha Goth House, and it was a whole cool Noche de Krampus theme. I got to see like my best friends. My best friend Brian showed up, and my other best guy friend Byron showed up, and I had Mia there, and it was a time. It was fun. But like after the whole show was over with like they had like burlesque and they had wrestling. It was fucking cool. After the show was over, we had free reigns over dancing inside of said luchador ring. And I mean, all was well. It was like super bouncy inside, and I had to like jump up inside the ring and then like, get down and stuff. And all night, I was knocking back Jameson and tequila like it was no big thing. Like, I was fucking living, okay? I don't know why I chose to drink like that, because you know what? I was out and I just wanted to have fun. And to be honest, the alcohol was not hitting me. And I thought, okay, what? Like, oh my God, it's just not hitting me at all until it did. I mean, I know you guys, I don't know if you know that feeling. Maybe you don't drink, but if you do, that shit fucking hit me. But anyway, so of course, in true Tessarella fashion, I was wearing my go-go boots. And I was dancing in the luchador ring. And I sat down like at the edge of the ring, and I was like saying goodbyes to my friend Byron. And then I was chit-chatting with Brian. And I decided that it was going to be a good idea to hop off the ring. And when I did, I lost footing or something, and I slipped and I fell in the most comically painful way possible. Like I landed, I know that there's a fucking video of it too, and I need to see it. But anyway, I hopped off, slipped, kind of fell on my knees, but then like also did the splits. I don't know, but that shit was excruciating. Like the December has been a year. It's been a fucking year. December has been a month of pain for me. Okay. But like, I got picked up. I sat down. I pulled a trash can close to me. And I let it all out. I let it all out. And then after that, I decided that I was okay and I could still dance. So Mia and I wanted to have like a little Romeo and Michelle moment. So, if you've seen that movie, like I got down on the floor and I like, I put my arm up and like she went around me, like, like she did a little thing. And then I thought it would be a great idea to do a little pirouette move. And my knee was like, honey. And she gave out and I fell on that knee again. And that just sent me over. Long story short, I could not walk the next day. Like when I got out of the car, when Mia dropped me off home, I had taken off my boots in the car. When I got off the car to try to walk to my front door, holy fucking hell. It was painful. I don't even know how I like brought myself to like take a shower, but I did. I took a shower, forced myself to go to bed. The next morning, I could not move. I could not stand up. I could not walk. It was wild. And my dear, sweet, adorable, precious angel husband was at work that night. And he got home in the morning. And I was just going through it. I was fucking going through it. And I couldn't get off the couch. So, needless to say, he forced me to go to ER because, this is not the first time I've hurt my knee. Okay, I'm accident prone. But like this time, like it was pretty severe. I did not want to be my usual self and just think the worst, but I was like, okay, maybe I'm just super sore. And this too shall pass. But he took me to he called off of work, which made me feel like a horrible fucking monster. He took me to the ER that, like, the hospital that he works at. And I don't have anything broken. I don't have a fracture, thank goodness. They told me that it's just a very severe sprain and they gave me crutches and I have been in a leg brace ever since. And this happened, honestly. Oh my gosh, when did this happen? This happened on the 13th. We are now on the 29th of December and I am barely able to like walk without the assistance of a fucking cane or crutches. And then I was doing like this thing where I was like, oh my gosh, I need to do everything for everyone, which I'm a mom. I have 2 boys. And I was just up and really trying my best. And then the holidays happened and they did not feel the same. I just remember looking at the calendar and thinking like, holy shit, like next week is Christmas. Are you serious? Like there was so much going on that time just went by so quick. And we have this little, like tradition every year. We do an annual Vegas overnight trip with the kids. And usually like we go and we arcade hop and we stay in a nice hotel and we listen to Christmas music and all of that. And that was canceled because I was so uncomfortable and could not walk. I had to take pain medicine that made me feel sick. I couldn't open my mouth without pain because, hey, I got the root canal. And when Thanksgiving ended, I hadn't had this stuff happen, but when it ended, I was determined to wrap myself in the warmth of the Christmas spirit. But the only warmth that was felt was the fucking heat wave that California decided to have this December. I don't know. It was just so underwhelming for me, and it was sad because I wanted that. I wanted all the serotonin and dopamine that I could get. I never used to celebrate Christmas before, and I'm telling you, like, these past 5 years I've just loved the Christmas season, and I didn't feel that this year. But I did listen to a lot of Christmas music. I listened to all the classics, and that's as good as it got for me. Oh, but one thing that we did do this year that really warmed my heart is that after that first procedure that I got, we went to the mall afterwards, and there was a tree next to where the Santa Claus pictures were happening, and it was a giving tree, and it had tags on there with names of kids and their ages, and the kids listed a few things that they would like for Christmas. So they like wrote things like backpacks and art supplies, like nothing crazy. And yeah, like, look, my kids are fortunate enough to have family that spoil them, and they want for nothing in life all year. They get whatever the fuck they want. And not all kids are fortunate enough to have that. So this year, when we saw that giving tree, we kind of went a little crazy. My husband and I, we chose 6 of those tags. And we anonymously bought gifts for 6 children who were in need. So to me, that is what this season is all about. Yes, it's nice to be able to get your children like big ticket items and spoil them. By all means, do what you want with your money. However, I think that there are a lot of pressures associated with gift giving and Christmas, and it is anxiety inducing. Okay, I know this season can be triggering for a lot of people out there, myself included. So being able to do that really makes us feel good that we could make a few kids like their day a little brighter. And I hope to do something at a larger caliber for 2026. And maybe, just maybe, I can make that happen with the help of you guys. Who knows? I'd love to do that. But we can all take a collective sigh of relief that the pressure of Christmas is behind us. And we are all in this little liminal space in between. People talk about this time like the days are blurring together, and you hear, "What day is it today?" They forget what day it is. I forgot what day it is. And sleep feels off. Motivation disappears. I absolutely feel that. And emotions flatten or spike unpredictably. And here's why that matters. Because your nervous system just went through weeks of anticipation, sensory overload, social performance. Like, I've seen so many people posting like, oh my gosh, like their social meter is absolutely done after like going from one place to the next and party to party. I did not go to one holiday party. I stayed home on Christmas. So I just knew what was going to be beneficial for me. And like, that's what I did. So you go through all this stuff and then suddenly nothing, no buildup, no clear next thing. So your brain does what it always does during times of uncertainty, which it scans, it waits, it worries, And I felt like this in 2024 after what felt like a marathon of events. Like I planned my wedding and got married in 3 months' time. Yes, 3 months. It was stressful, but a good stress and a stress I missed. And after it was all said and done, I felt that silence, a sort of vacancy in my mind, which completely went into shock and needed to like fixate on something. And that something turned into extreme anxiety and a nervous breakdown. So, if your mood ring right now reads like resting but guilty or numb with occasional panic, that's not failure. That's transition. And I need to constantly remind myself that not all endings are bad and not all change is scary. And perhaps what we need sometimes is a whole lot of rest and doing absolutely nothing. And that's okay. Like, we don't always have to be productive. And maybe the term bed rotting is just too fucking negative and a term designed to make us feel guilty. But I just want to call that self-care. Okay, it is time to open the Far Out Time Capsule. And today, what we uncover is how many cultures believed the days between years were unstable. Time didn't behave normally. Rules softened, spirits wandered. It was believed you shouldn't start anything important because the world itself was between states. Rest wasn't laziness, it was respect. And even now, our bodies still recognize this. That's why this week feels like it doesn't belong to any year, because once it didn't. Long before Christmas lights, before countdowns, before New Year's resolutions, there was the long night. Yule marked the winter solstice, the point where darkness peaked. Imagine living without clocks, without electricity, without knowing for sure that spring would even come back. Darkness wasn't symbolic, it was survival. So people gathered, they lit fires, they stayed awake together. The Yule log burned slowly, sometimes for days, because fire meant continuity. It meant we're still here. Evergreens were brought inside because they defined the season. They stayed alive when everything else surrendered. So if you have a Christmas tree in your house, this is why. Yule didn't rush the darkness away. It acknowledged it. And psychologically, that's important because uncertainty is less frightening when it's named and witnessed. Yule says you don't have to fix the dark. You just have to endure it. Then we move to Christmas. Christmas is loud with meaning. Lights everywhere, music on repeat. The same stories, the same scenes, the same expectations. And that repetition, that regulation, nostalgia activates safety circuits in the brain. Familiar traditions tell us you've survived before. But once Christmas ends, the stimulation disappears. The dopamine drops, the distraction drops, the distraction ends, and what's left is just quiet. That's why so many people describe this week as empty or hollow, and they feel sad for no specific reason. And it's like waking up from a dream, like a really good dream. I swear, I think I just like disassociated this entire weekend. And I didn't even do anything for Christmas. So it's not that Christmas is perfect. It's just that is what held us. And when that holding up stops, we feel exposed. Then comes New Year, a sudden demand for meaning. You have all these pressures of like, you're going to be better and you have to decide everything. And it's a fresh new start. And your nervous system is still recovering. Like across cultures, New Year rituals weren't about productivity, they were about protection. Noise to scare away the unknown, food to invite abundance, and fire to cleanse fear. Modern culture turned that into pressure, of course, but humans were never meant to transform overnight. You don't bloom in the winter, baby. Okay, strange friends, it's time for the far out time machine to take off. But this week, it's not the kind with the flashing lights or dramatic takeoff sounds. This one moves slowly, softly, like memory does when it's not being chased. I want you to imagine like a hallway, but not like a scary backrooms type of hallway that like I mentioned in the beginning. Just a long, dimly lit, quiet enough that you could hear your own footsteps. Maybe like a more vibey, haunted mansion, endless hallway type of thing. But this hallway is the year that you just lived. Some doors closed, some are cracked open, some you didn't even realize you walked past until it was already over. And here's the important part of that. And we're not here to relive anything. If you had anything traumatic happen or anything like that, we're just walking through. As you move down this hallway, you might notice certain moments pulling at you. Not like a highlight reel, not the Instagram moments, but the in-between ones. The quiet drives, the little glimmer moments, the nights where nothing happened and everything felt heavy, and the mornings where you woke up already tired of trying to be okay. I know that I experienced that so fucking much. And those moments matter because those are the moments where survival lived. A lot of us measure years by our achievements and milestones and like the before and after moments. But the truth is, most years are measured by endurance. In continuing when you didn't feel inspired, in showing up when you were scared, in staying when it could have just been easier to disappear emotionally. And let me tell you, I did that a lot. If this year didn't transform you, that doesn't mean it didn't shape you. Now, I want you to stop at one of the doors in this hallway. Just one. Not the worst moment, not the best one, the one that quietly changed you. Maybe it was like a realization or a loss or a boundary that you set. A moment where you said, I can't do this the same anymore, and I can't allow myself to feel like this anymore. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to relive it. Just acknowledge it. And now, place your hand on this door. Maybe it's like the Nightmare Before Christmas, all of those like holiday doors. You choose one of those instead of the holidays. This is your year. These are like things that happened in your year, right? Notice what it feels like to recognize that you made it past that moment. You're here, you're breathing, you're listening. And that counts more than we give ourselves credit for. And here's something we don't say enough, that you don't owe the year a success story. You don't have to turn pain into productivity. You don't have to extract meaning on a deadline. You don't have to be grateful for lessons that you did not fucking ask for. Sometimes the meaning is, I survived this, and survival is not small. Okay? It's not. I had a whole entire year of therapy. I had up to 5 hours of therapy a day sometimes. So I just want to welcome you to participate gently and quietly. I'll offer you these 3 optional reflections, okay? You can answer them out loud or just let them pass through like thoughts in a dim room. First, so name one thing you carried this year, something heavy, something emotional, something you didn't plan on holding for so long. Second, name one thing you're allowed to set down, not fix, not resolve, just not carry into the next hallway, or through the next door, rather. And third, this one matters. Name one part of yourself that stayed, didn't improve, didn't heal, just stayed. And as we step out of the time machine, I want you to remember this. You don't enter the new year as a blank slate. You arrive as someone who has already lived, already endured, already adapted, already learned how to keep going even when time felt strange and uncooperative. And if you feel unfinished, that does not mean that you failed. It means that you are human. I was just talking to my husband a little while ago about how I have been in therapy. Again, so much therapy. And I still battle so many negative thoughts. And I was just like, what a waste to have been in so much therapy and still have these just negative thoughts. But it wasn't a waste because I really, really did a lot of work on myself. So take a breath with me, in through your nose, out through your mouth. You don't have to become anyone over fucking night because you've already arrived. Well, that's it. You went on quite a journey with me. And if you feel suspended right now between years, between versions of yourself, between expectations, again, you're not behind. You're in a space humans have always needed, rituals to survive. Nothing has to begin on New Year's Day. Nothing has to resolve. Some things are meant to be waded through. Thank you for sitting here with me in the quiet, in the static, in the glow of lights that don't mean anything anymore, but somehow still matter. So until next time, keep it weird, keep it kind, and don't forget your flashlights.